Think you can hear me? Yes, right about now. Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not over. This is just the beginning. A lot more fun things to come. I think, as Nikhil was mentioning just before, normalization of education. It's incredibly exciting to see how far we've come and how far there is still to go. So on that front, anyone around the room, if you would like to come in and listen to this next keynote speaker, one of the driving forces of governance within the Cardano ecosystem, you should come in, sit down, wear a headset. It is really great audio that you're going to be able to hear, practically even if you're doing a one-on-one with the speaker here today, Michael. So feel free, come down, get a seat. There are plenty for you here today. So on that note, we are going to be talking about governance, SIP 1694, the Era of Voltaire, and all of those great things that are kind of coming to Cardano. It's a very intricate one, so I'm sure our speaker, Michael, is going to be able to give you all the context needed around this. I think the ability to understand minimal viable on-chain governance is very important. That intersection between centralization and decentralization and kind of seeing what is the best efficient fit for it. So I'd say without further ado, Michael from IO Global, the stage is yours. Welcome. Let's give him a round of applause.
Much, Shiraz. Hello, Cardano Summit. My name is Michael Madoff, and I'm the Group Product Manager for Governance at IOG. And I started the Voltaire program here. So today I'm going to be talking to you about minimum viable on-chain governance and why it matters. It is really great to be back here in Dubai. I actually lived here for a few very formative years earlier in my career. Lived right across the street from Burj Khalifa. And this is a photo of me the one time I borrowed my friend's Land Rover to go dune bashing to look cool on Instagram. The rest of the time I was mostly smoking shisha at the beach club with my Lebanese friends. But I found it very inspiring, the growth and ambition of this city that comes from a bold willingness to innovate with new business models and also an unmatched tolerance and openness to learn from the rest of the world and bring that back here to Dubai. There's an energy in Dubai today. Every day, a new skyscraper, a world record, or scientific breakthrough. And it's kind of like being in New York during the Roaring '20s or Paris during the Belle Epoque. And that's actually not an accident. It's intentional policy choices that have brought us here. And I remember speaking with Minister Reem Al-Hashmi, who organized the Dubai Expo 2020, about her inspiration for the event coming from the Paris Expo, where they built the Eiffel Tower. And so before we talk about the future of governance, I would like to take you actually into the past, a little deeper into French history. So I was actually trained as a political scientist with an interest in history and philosophy. And I'd like to take you back to 1726, when a Mr. François-Marie Arouet, also known as Voltaire, was essentially living in exile in England. And while he was there, he learned English quickly enough to be influenced by minds like those of John Locke, Isaac Newton, and Shakespeare. And seeing a new country opened up a totally new way of thinking about the structure of society for him. And one of his seminal works, the Lettres philosophiques, or Letters Concerning the English Nation, planted the seeds of the Enlightenment and the idea that new governance systems might be needed for the age of railroads and steamships and electricity that was to come. And so if you're here today, you probably recognize that the world is undergoing such a shift. We're moving from a world governed by hand-drawn lines on ancient maps to what some are calling the network state, enabled by blockchain technology. And I'd like to tell you today about how Cardano is pioneering a new paradigm in building a digital nation. When we kicked off this era in Edinburgh last year, there were a lot of people at this conference and in this room, you may recall, we came to this definition that the Age of Voltaire will continue the transformation of the Cardano network to a self-sustaining system defining the foundational standards for participatory governance in blockchain technology. And to me, the promise of blockchain, it's not technological, it's not financial, it's actually political. Now, what do I mean by that? So governance is relatively straightforward when you live in a village of 100 people and everyone knows and trusts each other. But as a society gets larger and more complex, there's a trade-off between scale and trust that needs to be addressed by ever more cumbersome systems of governance. But for the first time, we have the technology to break that trade-off at scale. To quote Mr. Charles Hoskinson, we're going from a world of don't be evil to a world of can't be evil. And so imagine an election system where you don't have to trust that your vote has been counted correctly. You can verify it yourself with mathematical certainty. Imagine a constitution with self-enforcing provisions that are free from bias. Imagine a system of public finances that is so transparent that corruption becomes an impossibility. The possibilities for what we're building here go beyond Cardano, but this is where it starts. So first, just to give a bit of context about Voltaire and why we're here, and obviously everyone in this room is familiar with Cardano and this Cardano roadmap that was originally laid out, but just wanted to take you through what has been accomplished so far to lead to this point. So we started in the Byron era, laying the foundational groundwork for the future development of Cardano. In the Shelley era, we decentralized the Cardano ecosystem, building the community of SPOs. In the Gauguin era, we introduced smart contract functionality, and in the Basho era, scalability and interoperability. And all of this was necessary to reach the Age of Voltaire, where we are now. And this is the final piece of that original roadmap that remains to be done. Voltaire as a program is about creating the building blocks for maximizing broad-based participation in Cardano governance. Specifically, there are 3 building blocks that we've outlined as part of the program. The first is the institutions pillar, taking the form of the Cardano member-based organization, Intersect. If you want to find out more about that, we have our booth over there. And that's forming the institutional fabric of our community and of a future government. The second is the Constitution, which is going to be the bedrock and the guardrails of the system and the values that we all agree to live by, and we're excited to start kicking off that process of development coming up very soon. And third is the principle of democratic consent. And this is going to be a combination of on-chain and off-chain governance processes. And we're going to demonstrate for you later today how some of those on-chain processes work that are going to allow for voting on changes to the Cardano protocol and the introduction of liquid democracy. So this is a very ambitious plan that we've laid out. And how are we going to get there? So I'm actually a product manager by trade, and we have this concept in product management called minimum viable product. The idea here is we build products in an agile way, iterating, experimenting, and learning as we go. And so kind of this classic Silicon Valley example of minimum viable product, and you can tell it's from California because it starts with a skateboard. The classic example, we need a vehicle to get from point A to point B. What is the simplest thing we can get out the door, get rolling, and that's just a board with 4 wheels. Once we have that out there, maybe we're in the real world, we learn we need some kind of handle for stability, so the next iteration of that is a scooter. Then we learn we need gears to get up hills, so we invent a bicycle, and then we might decide we want a motorized functionality, and then finally arriving at a finished product of a car. And so what does that have to do with governance? It's the same thing with governance. If we try to develop the perfect system of governance from scratch, which has never been done in human history, by the way, we're going to fail, right? There's no way to start with an absolutely perfect system. And that's why we're taking our first steps with things like SIP 1694, the genesis of on-chain governance, and Intersect with this plan to keep growing, learning, and iterating. And we've been learning through first the 1694 workshops. Actually, did any of you participate in our 1694 series of workshops? There's one in the back. All right. So we actually did 50 workshops around the world with over 1,000 participants to listen to the Cardano community, get feedback on how we should structure this governance system. And out of that, we learned, we've had learnings that have led into a few new products that we're going to demo later today and tomorrow, including SanchoNet, GovTool, and several others. One of the products that we're going to demonstrate tomorrow is called the Cardano Ballot. And the Cardano Ballot is a tool we're going to use to gauge community sentiment going forward before we have full on-chain governance. And we're going to have a process that we're announcing today at the Cardano Summit that's going to open up the ability to vote. And the registration is going to happen over the course of November, and you'll be able to use your Cardano wallet and the stake that's in your Cardano wallet to actually vote in this event launching December 1st. And this is the first step in getting community consent around SIP 1694 and what we're going to build. So how can you get involved in helping us build minimum viable governance? The first way, if you haven't already, is to join Intersect, our member-based organization. And you can scan that QR code right here to sign up. The second, we are looking for testers on SanchoNet, and that's our testnet for the governance system. That's already up and running and live, so you can go on, you can register, become a representative, start proposing your own types of governance actions, and see how it's really going to work in practice once full on-chain governance goes live. And then last, of course, is participating in the Cardano Ballot on SIP 1694 that we have coming up. So like I said, that vote is going to start December 1st. It's really important that everyone in the community come and participate and make your voice heard. So Voltaire is the next stage in the continued and growing involvement of the community in the governance and oversight of the Cardano ecosystem. The community is here and has always been here, but their power is being unlocked to further maximize the contribution and participation in the ecosystem. And so thinking back on Voltaire, the writer, he was a master of symbolism and metaphor, and the point I really want to make is we're not just telling the story of Cardano here together, but showing the world what is possible by setting the standard for participatory governance in blockchain and beyond for the countries of the world. And so there's no denying that the problem of governance is an immense one, but I'd like to leave you with these words from Voltaire, that no problem can withstand the assault of sustained thinking. So thank you so much, Cardano community, for learning and building and sustaining with me. Again, I'm Michael Madoff, and I wish you a productive and enlightening Cardano Summit. Thank you very much.